All right, morning. This is Dave Steuer. It's actually kind of fun because I'm about ready to go and start taking care of my patients. Well, I've actually already been in there. Now I'm in here. I want to talk a little bit about the Peace, Blend, and Motivate today, and I want to focus in on what it is about these compounds and what it is about these blends that make them so effective. And in general, it comes back to a commonality in our body where our body likes to maintain kind of a status quo. Our brain is our little, think of it kind of, I'm going to think of a good analogy. The brain has the ability to analyze and investigate everything that's going on in the body, right? If you pinch a cell down here, you're going to get a response that the brain then has to analyze and determine, was this a threat? Is it a stimulus for pleasure? Is it a stimulus for pain? And the body has to compartmentalize. It puts it into different little categories, right? And so when it comes to our emotions, one of the biggest things that the brain has to understand is this emotion a detriment to us, or is it going to amplify and make us even healthier? So, and that may seem strange, but the reality is sometimes fear is a positive. Sometimes sadness encourages certain responses within our system that motivates us to be a healthier version of who we are. In other words, it lifts us and changes us for the good. So just because an emotion seems to be negative doesn't necessarily mean that the brain interprets it that way. So let me talk a little bit about that. First thing is what is it about the Peace Blend that is so powerful? In my opinion, one of the things that's very important in there is the wide array of different chemical compounds. Now I know you can't see this, but if you look at the ingredients from doTERRA's site, you've got your vetiver, your lavender, ylang-ylang, frankincense, clary sage, mahorn. If you were to go through each of these and look at the compounds, there's a very large array of functional chemicals that are going to create a specific effect in the brain. And one of the most interesting is that they have the ability to limit, like I said at the beginning, this high and low. So our brain likes to function in moderation. We like to kind of be running along right in the middle. We don't want to be on the high. We don't want to be on the low. It allows the body to literally feel a sense of peace. And so the compounds that have been blended together, in my opinion, if you look at them from a chemical standpoint, are somewhat limiters. They're not necessarily like a limonene, for instance, that's showing an antioxidant effect that comes in that's creating an increase in things like dopamine. These are more compounds that show kind of a limiting or a barrier. And that's great. It's wonderful because it allows the brain to literally calm down. Peace is ironically not necessarily this positive emotion that we're looking for in the sense of, oh, we're only going to be peaceful if we're genuinely happy. We're only peaceful if my kids do great on their test at school, right? Peace is actually the opposite of anger. Peace is the opposite of stress. So if you look at it from a chemical standpoint in the body, anytime you're undergoing acute stress or chronic stress, you decrease your feelings of peace, chemically speaking. And so peace is the reduction of stress, which is kind of cool. And so what this blend really is doing is it's limiting our stress response, which is amazing. So from a doctor's standpoint, it's probably one of the best blends that a person could be using daily to help them feel more genuinely healthy. Peaceful individuals have lower blood pressure. Peaceful individuals have lower inflammatory responses. Peaceful individuals are able to sleep more efficiently. They're able to have better body weight. And once again, why is that? It's because we're limiting that high and low, but more importantly, think about it again from a stress standpoint. Our body's constantly undergoing stress. You walk outside your car and you just cleaned it and some junk fell all over your car. It becomes this acute moment of stress. Well, what do you do with that energy, right? So the Peaceful Blend limits those stress events, which allows for all those other positive moments. All right, let's kick over to the other one here, which I want to talk a little bit about today, which is Motivate. So Motivate's interesting. If we come over and look at the compounds again, which I know you can't see, but maybe they're there to help me, I guess. You've got peppermint, clementine, coriander, basil, melissa leaf, rosemary, and vanilla. So Motivate's interesting because really what Motivate's doing is it's working from a central nervous standpoint to increase your body's desire to produce certain types of neurotransmitters. Because remember, our body is much like a sounding board for text messages. You know, anytime the brain wants to stimulate us to do something, it has to send out a little text message to that organ system, to that specific region of the body, whatever it might be. Digestive system, right? If we're like, let's motivate us in whatever way to digest food better or whatever, the brain has to send out little messages. So think of this not as, oh, I'm going to put it on my arm and magically it's going to go into my skin and it's going to do some local thing right here. Really what's happening is it comes into the skin, you're sending messages, much like a text message, to the brain to form a series of events which stimulate your neurochemistry. So a neurochemical response that is more motivational means that the brain is activating specific organ systems. So let's think of it this way. This is not a legitimate analogy for motivate, but think of it this way. If you want to go down the street and you're going to go put on your gym clothes and you're going to put on your shoes and you're going to run over to the gym real quick and you're going to have a quick workout, your brain has to assess, how tired am I? How achy am I? It has to move you past those events and convince you that you want to go down the street, garner the energy to run into the gym and do something, right? So there's this motivational thing. So that's a complex series of text messages going out to different organs. Your adrenal cortex gets stimulated. All these different things receive a response that then tell you, you feel good enough to go do that, go for it. Well, the other thing conversely that is really cool about this is those people that go to the gym, you make it to the gym. Remember those text messages went out, so Motivate's done its little job. Little text messages are going out. Those little organ systems are being motivated. What is the feeling you get when you're done at the gym? Right? What is that emotion you have? It's it's almost like that runner's high. Your body feels amazing. You feel great. You feel healthy. That is a memory event that is now going to drive future actions. So your brain uses that emotion to instill in you, you do remember last time you went, how great you felt? Now put that in comparison or put that in perspective with what Motivate's doing. It is pulling or drawing on those emotions or those events to instill in you the desire to get out there and do something that promoted overall wellness to the body. It's pretty amazing to me that the compounds are able to do that. So from a neurochemical standpoint, Motivate is super powerful. It's very efficient at creating those kind of recall moments of pleasure. So when you blend the two, you have this peaceful blend that's limiting stressful events, and you have a Motivate blend which is amplifying those feel-good responses that you got from doing something that was challenging. What a seriously awesome coupling of two compounds, of two blends in their compound forms. So please, I encourage you, make these a routine and make them part of your day, and have a good one. Okay? Bye-bye.